Hey guys, this is Andrew and Jonathan with Team FOE here. We're gonna give you guys a meta snapshot, divided into a few videos of what we think are the best meta decks in each color combination.
Okay, yeah. So we've been playtesting a lot for the Gamers tournament. So we pretty much have seen every deck how it plays out, and this is the ones that we think they have the best chance at being competitive right now.
Yeah, if you're topping, you're most likely playing one of these decks or some variants of these decks. We're gonna give you guys some sample deck lists as well as our opinions on the strengths and weaknesses of the leader. Um, and yeah, so first we'll start with Bulma. So this is one that you played a lot, Jonathan. So
Yeah, I did consider playing this for gamers before the ban because it has such a good Vegix matchup that it was really just because of that I wanted to play this deck, and it's actually quite fun to play it. It has a lot of synergies going for it.
I agree. I agree. So this deck is kind of focusing on the Baba, Bandages, Spike, Gohan chain, which has existed before, but got a lot stronger because although it gives great defensive potential, the leader needed something to kind of like overpower, you know? Because if it was just
Correct.
getting behind on board and blocking all the time, but never really getting anything out of it, then you weren't doing anything. But
That's when Sync Shenron comes along because this really has boosted the archetype to a different level. Like
yeah,
he just becomes a win condition and keeping the opponent busy trying to get through your blockers, and then you killing everything on the backside, and then also like doing pressure to the leader. It's insane.
yeah, I agree. This is like he does it all. He's gonna win the game by himself if he stays on the board a couple of turns and you're able to survive, which his deck does a really good job of surviving. So
Correct.
you're able to
And
topo,
another
unblock.
card that actually puts the deck over the top is the Bulma, the Bonnie Anger,
Yes.
because yeah, it just gives you a blocker, then revives another blocker, and it chooses everything. It's just the second best card of the deck, I think.
I agree.
Uh,
She gives you everything in this deck. You can either revive some card advantage in the 2 mana Yamcha that draws you a card every turn, a 30k in Grandpa Gohan, or the prime target is the Yamcha that just demolishes people, just controls the board.
Correct.
But this guy being able to attack active mode with
Bulma. Mhm.
Sin Shenron's effect just lets you pick up the KOs on anything your opponent has on board and turn them into a 40k triple striker. And yeah, you're gonna see this package at the end. It's pretty much my favorite package. I don't know about you, John, but for closing games, Smoke Dragon and 10 Drop Fu, they
Oh,
just work so
absolutely,
well
absolutely,
together as win conditions.
absolutely. One or the other in this format, they will get the job done.
Yeah,
They get around the counters. They get around. Well, not all the counters, but at least for food they just stop the green counters, which is the main thing about food.
hmm
And for Black Smoke Dragon, it just steals games. If they don't deal with it, if you get to activate Smoke Dragon twice, you win the game automatically.
yeah. So yeah, that's our thoughts on Bulma. She's really strong. She puts a lot of pressure on the board, a lot of
Another
attacking.
card that does an extra work on this game on this deck is the new Yamcha, the Merciless Barge, because
Oh yeah,
usually that's the weakest of the counter plays, in my opinion. But in this deck, at least it works as a blocker too,
yeah.
so it does serve as a dual purpose in this deck.
That's really good. That's a really good point. Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely. I think he's definitely the weakest alongside the yellow Vegeta, and adding that blocker to him is really nice.
yeah, it's what put him like over the top in this deck. But it is the weakest of the new counters, the free counters.
Yeah, and just play around with the deck, and you'll see the synergies, and they'll start to flow together. And I know when you first played it, you didn't understand it at first. I didn't understand it at first, but
Oh
as you
yeah,
play more games, it kind of comes together.
it has a learning curve because you don't know what to drop with Baba, you don't know when to block or how to play exactly because you also have to wake in at a certain point, and it's kind of hard to mess with the deck. But as more as you play it, you get the hang of it, and you see the synergies going on
Yeah,
along.
it's a very unique like mono red control deck, so
Correct.
you definitely got to get some games under your belt before you get where you want to with the deck. But yeah, that's we definitely think this is a strong contender still. A lot of decks just literally cannot deal with the boards that this deck puts out. And that's its strength. You know, a lot of times you'll have 10 to 15 things on board. Half of them have blocker, half of them are, killing you, and it's downhill.
Yeah, in the late game, the only way that this deck loses is if they drop like a black smoke dragon on them. That's the only way that they actually
Yeah,
lose.
and the weaknesses of this deck, like Jonathan alluded to, is board wipes. Kami, you can survive a Kami. Black Smoke is really anything that warps your board is really bad. If you're looking for counters against this deck, the 6 mana Black Masayan that warps up to 6 costs gets rid of a huge chunk of the board, and it warps, so it doesn't trigger any of the effects except the Bunny Girl. And you get rid of like a ton of battle cards, and that's going to be a very prevalent sideboard card for a lot of decks, if not main deck.
Correct.
It's a very strong
Hmm.
overwhelm coming out of the set. So yeah, keep a lookout for this deck, and we'll move on to the next red deck that we consider to be strong in the meta.
Really good. And that would be Yamcha.
Yeah,
I haven't really played too much with this deck, so I don't know all the synergies with it, but I do know that it is a really strong deck for this meta.
yeah. So it's got a few things going for it. I like it. Although Vegex has gotten a lot weaker, a big thing against Vegex is being able to either and you know awaken at a higher life total than four. Force is just where you get double struck Bobbity out of the game, Bibbity, sorry, out of the game.
Hmm.
And it's just really easy to kill. So like being able to awaken at 5, 6, 7, even 8 life is a normal nowadays. A lot of the best
Hmm.
leaders you're gonna see are gonna awaken at a high life total. It just gives you a lot more flexibility depending on the matchup. You want to protect
Yeah,
your life.
you can either take a lot of life, so you can like get card advantage against like hand control decks, or you can just keep your life at lower total, so it's hard for you to kill them, for them to kill you, and then you can just kill them in the crap pack.
Exactly. So this
And this
deck,
deck has a unique win condition, which is burn the opponent.
yeah, so this is basically a very unique win condition that we didn't see too much of before, where you're trying to basically just burn them out. Get your leader to its backside and burn them out. The deck could be more aggressive. We took a more middle approach because sometimes you need to get to a certain energy to make a lot of the burn plays happen. So you don't want to awaken too early. Um, that's gonna put you in a bad spot, where you're tapping out when you don't really want to. Um, but yeah, so the main things that you're trying to do with this deck is just control the board. You always want to be ahead on board and just them pressuring the life, and that's with every red deck. When you have Sin Shenron in your deck, when you have these powerful, Bardock the Resolute, just really early battle cards that are coming out for free and giving you a nice card advantage, and Yamcha being able to swing for 15k on the front pretty much deals with a lot of unisons and a lot of attackers that may be coming out, right? So the Bardock the Resolute is really good against the unisons because it's just a free double striker. As soon as you
Correct.
deal damage to the opponent, and the ruling on it is even if you just attack their opponent with your leader and it deals with damage, which it's going to because your leader attacks for 15, uh, you're gonna get
You
this
can
guy
just
out,
drop it.
and then you
Hmm.
can start pressuring unisons really easily. So that's kind of the strength of
Yeah.
red. Pressure the unisons,
Ch-
pressure
ch-
the board.
Correct. Yeah, this guy is really good in this format. Especially the fact that you can pressure the unison turn one. It's what makes him really good.
Exactly. Even if you're going second and they drop their unison before you, you have a free play double striker, which deals
Yeah.
removes 2 counters if it doesn't get counterplayed, and if it does, it opens up room for other things. It's playing the similar package of the Bulma Bunny Girl, and it's looking to burn people out with either the 4 mana Vegito, which is just a card advantage engine in the late game, and protection. His -2 is extremely powerful. It doesn't let your opponent play battle cards using skills, which
Hmm.
is like 99% of things in this format that
Yeah,
matter.
I think those are the two cards that like shine on this deck: the Bulma Super Combo and the Vegito, where you
Yeah,
can play a plethora of one drops that really synergize really well with the leader and with the what you're trying to do.
exactly. You're able to play these Bulmas for free, pump your leader, pump your unison, pump any of your I'm sorry, not your leader, pump your battle cards, which are going to be used to KO their stuff, pump your unison to KO their stuff, combo it off, bring out some other cards. You're just gonna get a lot of advantage. You're gonna be attacking really hard. You're gonna be attacking for 25, 30k, even with your leader on the backside.
Yeah.
So they're gonna take the damage, and they don't want to take the damage because then if you get them to that point, they get burned out, right?
Hmm.
So it
Exactly.
puts a lot of that like mental stress on them. So the
All right,
two
moving on.
the ways that we have is the Son Goku, the Pure Hearted, the battle cards, the Vegito, and the Yamcha. Just keep in mind that you do need a red unison in play to trigger the damage, the extra damage. Um, so if you play Vegito for 5 and you activate Vegito for 5, it will only deal 1 damage, from what I understand, because he leaves play.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you have to play him for 6 to deal 2, basically. But mostly you're going to be looking at the 3 mana plays of Yamcha and Son Goku, and attacking their battle cards, which you can attack even in active mode with Sin Shenron. So that's
Yeah.
basically what this deck tries to do. We think it's one of the strongest. It's probably, not the best version. There's other cards that do a lot of different things that you may want in this type of deck. More Self-Awakening, maybe the Nappa that burns for 4 if you're only playing mono red. So to explore with this list, but it's definitely a powerful strategy, and it could catch you off guard. It's
Yeah.
attacking really hard, and then all of a sudden it's going all in for almost 100k or something.
It's like
On
mono red in different card games. Just
Exactly.
attack early on and burn them for the last couple points damage.
So that's kind of where we expect Red to be, abusing the power of Sin Shenron to control the board and whittle down your opponent and put them
Definitely,
into bad
definitely.
spots.
One of the most powerful unisons coming out of this set,
Yeah,
and one of the hardest one to kill, if not the hardest.
yeah, he's definitely a house. He wins games on his own. So moving
Hmm.
on to blue, Jonathan's favorite color. So these are the leaders that we think are going to be, or the first leader that we think is going to be very prevalent in this format is the reboot Soul Striker. Um, Disregard the one that you see here. It's the old one, but we know what the new one does. He's going to be able to draw or untap on the front, awaken, draw
only
two.
taps, only untaps mono blue. That's the only thing.
Yeah, untapping mono blue on the back and untapping your unison on the back, which is really nice.
So on this deck, what you want to be doing is charging a multicolor turn one, and then two blues. That's how you do it with this leader.
Correct.
Because you need triple brew for the unison. Sadly, there is no like a different kind of unison. I would like to if there was like a colorless and a blue, this would be so much better because you wouldn't have to play like double colors to be able to play the deck. You could just play like red, blue, and not dual colors, so your energy never comes on top.
Yeah, that would be
But this is what we
ideal.
have.
That would be ideal. But the leaders sort of balance in that way where you can only untap the mono blue and the unison requires triple blue. So you're kind of forced into a situation where you have to charge blue blue or sorry, blue red multicolor into blue blue. And then usually turn 4 you'll try to charge another blue red or a mono red, just to kind of give you more ability to play your red cards.
Correct. So the strengths of this deck, besides the fact that you can actually awaken in a high lower total, you can usually awaken at 6 or so because you can just stop on turn 2, prevent them from doing any more damage, and then play the unison on turn 3, and then awaken, and then you can just start going through all these synergies with the untapping energy.
Yeah, exactly. This deck is basically red mostly for topo and some board advantage. It abuses the fact that you can bounce back topo with Hercule and Boo, so you just play topo. This deck tries to play topo on you almost every single turn, uh, and it gets a little bit annoying after a while. I think there's games I played that we played where we this deck played topo literally 6 to 7 turns in a row.
Yeah, yeah. Topo is a really key card on this deck, and it does really put the deck a little bit over the top. Not only that, you have a lot of negates in the deck as a whole.
And the
There's
unison
a lot of
blocker.
correct. The unison blocker. So you do have a lot of defense with this kind of version. You also have a lot of offense because there is the one combo arrival guys, which is Cooler and the Boo.
Hmm.
They do offer you a lot of flexibility and a Booney, which is a lot of like out of nowhere, you can just attack the opponent for 6, 7 cards, and you can do that easily because you can untap a lot of energy. You can tap out without having to worry about any other problems with that.
Yeah, once this deck hits 4 energy, it's going to really start to overtake a lot of decks. It doesn't have the strongest 1, 2, or 3, although they're not bad. But its turn 4 is really where things start to boonies, or this Jiren that we put
Yeah,
in. They start
that's
to
a
hit
deck
the
that we've been
board.
testing that really makes the deck come to flourish a little bit, and we
It's
really like the Duran. Hmm.
Yeah, in certain situations where you're able to pressure the unison, you're not worried about a counterplay. This guy becomes very difficult for your opponents to deal with, sometimes impossible. His effect is that strong. He's underplayed because you don't want to tap out 4, them kill it, and then it didn't do much. It almost always does something because they're gonna kill it with a battle card, so it's gonna kill that battle card or make that battle card a non-attacker for the turn. He's 20k double strike, and in this deck it works because you're able to untap 2 energy, so you're able to still have
Some
defense,
sort of defense, yeah.
correct, to back this guy up. So and he's cost 1 red, which is also very important.
Yeah, that's what makes him so splashable.
Yeah. So that's basically what this deck is trying to do: build up card advantage, draw 2 with the monkeys with the free energy you get every turn. Go through your deck, find your secret rares, find your boonies, put pressure, topo them defensively almost every turn, and then bounce them back to the hand and use all of your negates together and your counter plays that you have to kind of just put too much pressure too quickly once it hits turn 4.
Correct. I believe this deck is 60 cards, if I'm not mistaken.
This one is 30 plus 20. No, this one's 52. 52. Most of our decks are
Okay.
probably. I think the Bulma deck was 60. The Yamcha deck was also 52. 52 in decks where we feel like we're going to see a lot of cards go through our deck. It doesn't hurt the
Yeah.
consistency too much from what I've seen or from what I felt. You still see everything you need it, but it does put you in a better position to not deck out. And
Yeah,
you can
because
deck out with something like
you
this.
can, and this deck does have some problems with that. You could end up taking out
Yeah,
if
the
you're not careful with your draw effects, because you draw a lot too.
Yeah, you draw with the leader, draw with your unison, draw with the monkeys, draw with the Hercule and Boo. You see a lot of cards in this deck. Like you're gonna see your whole deck. So
Hmm.
52 is fine. And yeah, we'll move on to the other blue leader that we think is going to be very meta prevalent, and that's going to be Vegito.
And I love this leader. This leader, it's one of the few that I it's only mono blue. It's not supposed to charge anything else, but it's mono blue.
Hmm.
But it works so fine. Like it's such a good like advantage deck that I really like this deck.
Yeah, I agree. It's just utilizing the blocker to awaken early. Um, I think it has the same thing where it's able to awaken at a high life total. It's able to put a lot of pressure with cards like a Boonie and the Goku hit blocker with the arrival.
Yeah.
And just kind of a same thing, kind of get your opponent to that critical point, and then it just has what I consider one of the best win conditions on a leader, which is just giving your unison triple strike and going all in, uh,
Yeah.
which is just it's too brutal. It's just free combo power, free triple strike because it's on the leader, and it's just a great win condition. Basically, against this leader, you're not gonna see your last 3 of life.
And this deck has one of the best defensive strategies that we've come to test through these new cards, which is the new Son Goku and hit a dual color card, which
Yes.
really like increases the offensive and defensive rotation of the deck.
Yeah, very good at pressuring unisons early on in the game. There's a lot of situations where turn 2 of these were dropped on me, and it's hard to come back from that. Like your unisons will never stick, and there's a wall of blockers. You kill the blocker, Vegito untaps an energy, draws a card. So he's got a lot going for him. Like if you deal with these powerful cards, he pluses. So you have to kind of maneuver correctly around it. You get me?
And of course, the most important card of the deck would be Seno,
Hmm.
because getting Seno on turn two just puts the deck over the top. You can do so many plays if you are ramping more than the opponent.
Yeah, Zeno's definitely what I consider the best blue unison. As time progresses, I may just start calling him the best unison. He's very, very, very strong, especially
Hmm.
in mono blue. Just being able to play. I mean, he's basically a free objection, like a free ramp every turn, which is
Yeah,
he's an
yeah,
extra energy. That's the way I think of it. He's just an extra energy that has an ultimate that is really strong too. If you ever get
yeah.
behind in any situation, you just -5 him, and the game is reset, and it's usually in your favor because with Vegito you're at a high life total. It's
And
like the old school Zeno, chain attack
correct. Yeah,
Zeno.
yeah.
It just hits
And
everything.
the nice thing about this unison is that the counterplays are way easier to hold up because you +2, so it's really hard to for them to pressure the unison that fast. And because you have blockers and because you have negates, it's really hard for them to actually pressure the unison.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it much because the other deck had Topo, but this Mono Blue is gonna get in a promo card in one of the tournament packs, I believe. This blue counter attack that costs 1, so it's a 1 mana 15k, which is already pretty good on a negate.
Hmm.
That is a mini Topo in the sense that it prevents them from going too aggressively in the first few turns of the game, which is going to allow you time to stabilize and build resources to defend. So
Yeah,
it really stifles early decks like
early games, correct. And the
Vejex
reason
was
he
one that gets
shines,
hurt a lot.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the reason he shines more in this deck is because you can do it as early as on turn 2,
Exactly.
as the difference with Soul Striker that you have to wait until turn 3. But this one, to being able to do it in turn 2 is huge. It's the difference that actually makes this card good.
And yeah, just this you're gonna see a lot of these standard cards in mono blue builds because they just work so well together at getting the job done.
And again, the best blue card that we've gotten so far, which is the Booney. In a mono blue deck, you have to
You
play
mean the
4 of
best
them.
card in the game?
Possibly, yes, correct.
Yeah, I'm pretty
It's
convinced
just
this is already getting to the point where it's the best card in the game.
yeah, yeah. Obuni is absurd. It's just a one card army, and on top of that, it untaps an energy. You can not do anything to it. So really, really, really puts the blue decks like this is the card that this is the reason to play blue, to play
Yes.
Obuni.
Yes, you play a Booney. You play a Booney on turn 3 with Zeno. You play him on turn 4 again. And from there,
On
it's
five,
really hard to win. It's really hard to beat
yeah.
that. So, yeah, a Booney for sure picked him up, because that guy's insane. All right. So that's our first 4 leaders that we were going to talk about. We'll be doing another Meta Snapshot video with the other colors and show you what those decks look like. We'll catch you next time.
See you.